As here on the last week of October, right? Last few days actually. Today is the 30th, tomorrow will be. And finally we usher in the last month of the year. This is November. Today it is 30th of October 2023, and I'm glad that you've woken up well and you've chosen KT News to inform you this morning. This is Morning Prime, and you bang on time for Standpoint, where we take political analysis of the week that has been and how also this week will pan out to be, and also how we design it differently here when we have our conversations with our panelists today. We'll be joined by Danson Mungatana, who's the Senator of Tana River. Also be joined by Beatrice Elachi, who is Member of Parliament for Dagoretti North. We'll be joined by Honorable Dr. Makale Mulu, who is a member of Kitui Central, and also with us this morning will be Richard Onyonka, who is the Senator of Kisii. You get to drive a show with us. You don't know what to do. Head over to our X handle, which is at KT News. At Dibalanea also is my Twitter handle. You can share your questions or fire your questions or your contributions there as well, and we shall be also sampling them during the course of the program. But for now, let's see how the weather will be today. Right, Troubled Kingdom is what is headlining the front page of the Standard this morning. Commonwealth King Charles III flies into the country tomorrow and is expected to attend to several functions in his 4-day visit. However, there are challenges in Commonwealth and need for a charm offensive to bring the union together at the heart of the visit. You have a story on page 2 and 3 of the Standard this morning, and here is the People's Agenda. Locals eager to learn what King has in store for them. Also, will the monarch apologize for colonial atrocities? That is a question. Will there be reparations for sins committed in name of British monarch? Those are some of the burning questions that we're here to see if that will be addressed. And of course, also looking at what was the main idea of visiting the country as well is actually to seek a happy medium on this and to apologize as well. You can follow this story on page 2 and 3, as I've mentioned, of the Standard today. Also, Cherokee Star in Standard Chartered Marathon, that is on sports pages today on 30 and 31st. That is inside the sports pages. What tax revenue says about the economic plan, that is on page 8 of the Standard. Ruto, my many trips benefit the country. This is in reaction to the recent, of course, story about his globe-trotting escapades as well. And now he's saying, my many trips, it's to benefit the country. KRA Gates court note on new stamps. That court challenge that was the tipping wire right now is off, and we can see this is where they're headed right now. Health and Science Bullet Magazine, know your breasts, how to self-examine, separate meats as well. It's all tucked away inside the Standard this morning on the Health and Science Bullet Magazine, as you can see to there. Rugby WC box walk like champions, that is South Africa, who are the world champions. You can read all about that inside the Standard today. Let's see how the Daily Nation is holding this morning. End of an era. KCPE 1985 to 2023 this week will mark the, of course, the finalization of KCPE as far as the new curricula is concerned. Change today marks a watershed moment in the history of education in Kenya. The 30th or the 39th and last group of learners to spend 8 years in primary school is writing their KCPE exams, a key plank of the 844 system of education. And as the country makes the changeover into the CBC school system, Kenyans look back at a system that had both its critics and supporters. You have a story on page 2 and 3 of the Daily Nation highlighting this. Paul Mecha is sat for KCPE in 1985. We have 1993, Ruth Kenja. We have Gilbert Odhiambo 2005. We have 2013 Wambua Maina, and 2017 Chris Wagura. Tragic excursion that claimed lives of 5 candidates. A very disturbing story there, where we can see a field trip tragedy has shocked parents and teachers at a primary school in Uasin Gishu County barely 48 hours before the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education and Kenya Primary School Education Assessment Examination starts. And this story is on page 3 of the Daily Nation this morning. And this is a dam that swallowed 5 of the pupils there. And the probe is underway, according to the CS of Education. And you can follow the story inside the Daily Nation. Shock as Machakos Country bus land found to be private, while the courts affirmed that the bus park is owned by Little Known Park Towers Limited nearly 10 years ago. That information has come as a shock to several transport. Right, and we continue. Sorry for just apologies there for a hitch technically. But Shoka's Machakos Country bus land found to be private, while the courts affirmed that the bus park is owned by Little Known Park Towers Limited nearly 10 years ago. That information has come as a shock to several transport industry players. And you have a story on page 4 of the Daily Nation. NTSA, Thika Road and Naivasha Highway deadliest. Thika Road and the Nairobi-Naivasha Highway witnessed the most road fatalities last year. A report by the National Transport and Safety Authority on page 10 carries this particular story. This is a Daily Nation. Ruto, my trips are for your own good, he says. President defends his many foreign travels, and City beats United. In Manchester derby, Red Devils thrashed 3-0 by visitors. You have the story on page 37 of the Daily Nation this morning. Now, inside efforts to reconcile Uhuru and Gachagua is a splash on the front page of the Star. Rivals Kenyatta Gachagua fell out in the run-up to 2022 polls. The DP has been traversing different parts of Mount Kenya region calling for unity. You have the story on page 4 and 5 of the Star this morning. Ruto attends 40th anniversary of Eldoret Anglican Diocese, and you can see that is a solemnizing moment there where they were cutting the cake, holding together President William Ruto, First Lady Rachel Ruto, Anglican Archbishop Jackson Olesapit, and Uasin Gishu Governor Jonathan B. joined other church leaders during the celebrations to mark 40th anniversary of SEK Diocese of Eldoret in Uasin Gishu County yesterday. On the sidebar, it's all systems go. All systems go as last cohort starts KCPE exam. Preparations for national exams were last evening complete ahead of the last Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examination that begins this morning. The Kenya National Examination Council said all the exams materials and personnel, including supervisors, invigilators and security officers, had been dispatched, and we wish our candidates all the best today, this week, as they embark on the examinations. The story continues on page 6 of the Star. The love triangle link in murder of city taxi driver. You can follow the story there on page 20 of the Star. An intense lobbying ahead of Mwangaza impeachment date with senators. Remember, this week also marks a very pivotal moment there for Mwangaza, that we will know whether this particular impeachment will go to the committee or to the plenary. Yet to decide that. This story continues on page 2 of the Star this morning. People Daily, 5 die 1 day to sitting KCPE exam, tragedy mass exams. Pupils from Arap Moi Primary had gone for a school trip when they drowned in a dam of medication. CS calls for calm as probe is launched. Also, Interior CS accuses the teachers who planned the trip and boat operators of criminal negligence. You have the full report on page 4 of the People Daily this morning. And rights group warns visiting King Charles to say sorry for atrocities. British King and Queen are set to arrive in the country tomorrow. Their first visit to a Commonwealth country since coronation, as human rights groups demand an apology for colonial-era rights abuses. You have the story continuing inside the People Daily this morning. And why teens should not spend too much time with gadgets is another story you can follow inside the People Daily. Kwaheri KCPE. Hisia mseto kuhusu ufaafu wa mfumo wa 844 mtihani wa KCPE ukifunga pazia nchini since 1985 to 2023. Wanafunzi wa kwanza wa 844 kufanya KCPE walitahiniwa mnamo mwaka wa 1985. You can follow the story there on Taifa Leo. This is how it looks today. Business Daily. Gachagua's allocation beats Ruto's in 187 billion shillings mini budget. State House budget up 2.4 billion shillings to 9.7 billion shillings. Right, we have budgets for First Lady, DP spouse offices also increased. What key offices got? Deputy President's office has been allocated 759 million shillings more than initial budgets. And we have 4.3, that was initial, and the supplementary was a 4.4, actually 4.0 there, 3.5 initial, that is for the President, and now it is 4.3 from the supplementary. As you can see, it has gone higher for the Deputy President. The increase is on account of enhancement of operations and maintenance and provisions for refurbishment of boardroom. And we have First Lady and the DP spouse allocations as well. Spouse to the Deputy President's office has been its budget allocation raised by 424.8 million shillings from 444.9 initially. We can see the supplementary there has gone up by 593.91. We have the spouse there to the DP. That is a huge supplementary there for the spouse to the DP. Initial was 292.86 and now it is 717.66. interesting there. You can follow the story inside the Business Daily, but in the space where we are seeking austerity measures, we'll also be questioning why these supplementary budgets are really going way through the roof, and what the offices they do bring discernibly different in terms of those allocations as well. Treasury flags 111.8 billion shillings potential bailouts for parastatals, state-owned enterprises sitting on non-guaranteed debt worth 111.8 billion shillings for the last financial year that ended in June. The Treasury has disclosed exposing taxpayers to risk of hefty bailouts in the event of default. And national oil loans up 75% to 8.56 billion shillings on interest and penalties. Interest and penalties have pushed up loans taken by cash-strapped National Oil Corporation of Kenya, NOC, by 75% to 8.56 billion shillings amid cash flow wars that have hurt NOC's ability to repay the facility. This story continues on page 6 of the Business Daily today. BAT unionized workers get minimum salary of 57,812 British American Tobacco Kenya PLC has revealed that it is now paying a minimum of 57,812 as basic pay for its unionized staff, making it one of the best paying corporates in Kenya. You can follow the story inside the Business Daily today. Biden pledges to make Nairobi investment magnet in Africa. This is, of course, through Constance Hamilton, the Assistant U.S. Trade Representative for Africa and the lead negotiator in the talks. You can read all about it on page 2 of the Business Daily this morning. We cross over to Uganda, where government is seeking billions for district offices, heavy burden their local government administration issues there. You can follow the story on page 4 and 5 of Daily Monitor in Uganda. Also, we have government to meet fuel dealers today over importation. And think about others. This is what Semo Gerere is telling the faithful. Consider your neighbors. We have the citizen in Tanzania hope for green projects as CRDB bond raises 172 billion shillings. And it says CRDB Bank announced yesterday that its Kijani bond was subscribed by 429.55%, bolstering funding for the advancement of green, social and sustainability initiatives in Tanzania. You have the story on page 4. Also revealed factors behind the killing of women, girls. I'll list there inside the Citizen this morning. And NMB Bank eyes new record as quarterly profit soars to 569 billion shillings. All that tucked away inside the Tanzanian publication there. We have also the New Times from Rwanda. Experts meet over harnessing agri-tech for food security. The event comes out the backdrop of multi-challenges facing the continent. You have the story on page 2 of the New Times this morning. And First Lady urges youth to champion national unity. You can see her, Jeanette Kagame, addressing delegates during the 16th Forum of the Unity Club on Sunday. First Lady tasked the youth to live up to the responsibility of sustaining the established foundation of unity in the country while exhibiting befitting Rwandan values. You can follow the story on page 5 of the New Times this morning. Also, PM Gente urges officials to prioritize public service over self-interest, and Tresses Luchez reflects on the words in Rwanda, lessons learned and what the future holds, all that tucked away inside the New Times if you're waking up in Rwanda. The East Africa this week is holding the splash all about Ruto and his plan to end liquidity crisis to raise cash to repay 2 billion shillings or $2 billion Eurobond, stabilize shilling and spur growth. President has taken it upon himself to fly out to lobby lenders and investors to put money in the economy. And you can see him here at work there, arriving in Beijing, China on the 15th of October this month. And East African force in DRC may be forced into combat. The continual attack of peacekeepers by armed groups could push EACRF to raise its guard, fire its fast bullets. You have the story on page 6 of East African, and how Europe is challenging China's Belt and Road Initiative. European Union is pulling $300 billion to to give Africa a better choice of energy infrastructure projects. You have a story on page 5 of East African. China Daily this morning. China, US called on to effectively honor consensus. We have FM's visit provides fresh impetus for stabilizing relationships between Beijing and Washington. And she is urging promoting progress, unity of all ethnic groups. And also we have a telling picture there of food relief. We can see Palestinians collecting food boxes and bags from the United Nations run aid supply center in Deir al-Hadala, Gaza, on Saturday amid the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine. Thousands of civilians, both Palestinians and Israelis, have died since the conflict started on October the 7th, when Hamas militants based in the Gaza Strip entered southern Israel in an unprecedented attack, triggering Israeli strikes in the Gaza Strip. Humans, nature, and climate are all interwoven. That is an opinion there on World Watch by Ani Dasgupta there inside the China Daily. The Times is holding the hostage nightmare as its covers splash the enduring trauma of the October 7th massacre. We can see some of the victims there and their 2 sons missing or taken hostage there. That is what the Time magazine is holding. Also, we have the week as well. Fueling the fire, will Iran turn the Israeli-Hamas war into a regional inferno and draw in the US? That is a question there. And you can see the leader of Iran there, Ayatollah, as he has been personified here or drawn on the front page of the week. You can read all about it. He's ready to ban the map of the Middle East. Or is it banning as it is right now? I'll leave it for you to decide for that. And the week, make your money greener. That is what is a splash today. How to save, borrow, and invest in ways that help the planet. That is what is on the front page of the Newsweek. The current copy inside Israel's elite hostage rescue unit. You can read all about it inside the Newsweek as well. All right, I shall be showing you the editorial cartoons and other publications as well as we continue with the program this morning. But we have our guests already in studio with us. I just want to hear the voices, how they have been, and of course to update us as well on the current state of play in the constituency, and also moving forward, what are the expectations this week as well. Joining me this morning after a small hiatus is Dr. Makale Mulu. He's been missing. He's been away from the country. Right now he's back. And also we have with us Beatrice Elachi. Will be joined much later by Danson Mungatana and Richard Onyonka as well. But for now, let's hear from Dr. Makale. Good morning. Good to see you, sir. I salute you. You're back.
Morning, Dubala. Dubala was actually back 2 weeks ago. It's only that I came back on a Monday morning and the program was ongoing, so I could not join you. But I'm happy to be back. We were out there for a week plus.
Yes.
I had attended these IMF World Bank annual meetings.
Okay.
Discussing a lot of different topics which are relevant to our country also. And we were able to learn a lot.
That was in...
That was in Morocco.
In Morocco.
Yeah, Morocco.
Okay.
So, but I want to say it's a good morning. Happy to be back. I'm happy to be back to the program.
So did you speak for us before even you...
I did. As
did
usual,
you speak for the way IMF is really pushing?
As usual, we did represent Kenya very effectively. We were a team of legislators and a team from Treasury, the technical people. The whole idea was to share experiences of different countries.
Okay.
And at the same time, also get a feel of the global economy, how the economy globally is performing. Because we all know performance of the global economy directly affects our own economy. So it was more of sharing experiences, looking at the outlook and trying to see how to drive the global economy, also matters of climate change and the effect to the economies. So a very interesting discussion. And I'm sure we'll be using the knowledge acquired in a way of oversighting our government, because our work as parliamentarians is to oversight the government. So I'm very sure what we learned will be used as we move to the future. But generally, I want to start the bar by joining the rest of Kenyans to wish our candidates, all at the standard 6 level, at the standard 8 level, and the Form 4 level, all the best as they sit for their exams starting this morning. My concern mostly is for those who are going through security challenges. You know, some regions are going through security challenges. The government has tried to provide security, but there are still fears that it might not be adequate in terms of making sure that our candidates attend exams. There was also the issue of the Mao infection, which you realize, even though they didn't demolish schools, but the fact that you have infected people from their homes, it means they have changed their settlement, they're in another place, and that's likely to interfere with the cycle of the students as they go to the exam. So those are some of the issues which really might make a few of the students not do very well. But generally, we wish them well. The other thing about last week, I learned of the passing on of your colleague who is in the media like you, Jeff Kayemba, who has been a long-term friend of mine. These are some of the guys who started issues of these shows together with you when you were in the Nation. That time it was at Ebro TV. So that loss of such a young life to me was really something which really hit me hard last week. But we wish the family well. We want to condole with them during this difficult time. My prayer is that the Almighty God provides sufficient grace as they prepare to rest our friend. So these are some of the issues. Kitui Central is fine. I was there this weekend. We are only praying for rains. You know, the bar will be told that we are going to get El Nino. We prepared our farms. But now all of a sudden the rains are nowhere to be found. So my people are getting worried that the rains are not really coming down. We got rain for a day then, which was quite heavy. After some 2-3 days, some very minor showers. And what is happening now is our crops are almost drying. So we are expecting that we'll get rains, and we are praying hard that God hears our prayer so that we get the rains.
Right. Yes. Well, Harry KCPE, of course, we want to hear also from the PS right now, who is addressing the nation regarding this particular examinations week. This is Billy Kipsang. Let's just listen from what he has to say this morning before we embark with the conversation.
These things. We have already arrested a teacher who had 10 accounts with social media. And that's why I'm very grateful to our colleagues in the security sector. The DCI, we are working very closely with the Communication Authority and the whole system, the cybercrime team. We are working with all of them. And I can assure you that we have cornered these fellas. There is nowhere they can go this time around. And we shall not allow anybody to mess up our children. And that's why we are working as a multi-agency team to ensure the security of our children is protected. So my good friend, we have arrested some. We have also dealt with a few, 1 or 2 teachers who in one way or the other may have tried to expose some of our items. And we can tell you that this time round, as it has always been, the integrity of our examination is intact. Thank you very much.
Right, just assurance there from the PS Education there, Billy Kipsang, who is assuring Kenyans that yes, the security of examinations is intact. Questions have been raised before regarding how tight they are, and some, of course, of the issues of the leakages of exams were there before, but that has been addressed so far, and we are being given the assurance that all is set to go well and is all set up for success as it is, and we wish our candidates good success. After hard work, this is a time for them now to buckle down and show what they have been doing as well. Allow me to just rope in as well, British Elachi, to just give us her comments regarding and wish the students as well good success at thought you'll come with a damn good big one. Success can here in the studio too. Yes.
I took it to the
And also share your
schools.
condolences as well for the 5 pupils who are bound to be, of course, sitting for the exams as well. But a tragedy happened yesterday.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Dibal.
Morning to you.
First of all, just to really appreciate the Almighty God and to pray for all our students. I know this is the last Standard 8. It is a class that we really need to plan as a country, because we must ensure all these kids go to high school, because we don't have a class where they can repeat. We need to think of a good plan on how they transit to continue looking for their future and destiny. But I want to wish all the children of Dagoretti North. I know we have prayed, we've done everything. We've done past papers, Katina Primary, Kawangware Primary, Muslim Primary, HGM, Nairobi Primary, St. George's, State House Primary, Kilimani, Milimani, and all the others. That may God give these young students grace and knowledge to remember just what they've learned, and to pray that you can see Belio starts with, again, a teacher with 10 accounts. I don't understand why we would be, even in this era, again, we're talking about cheating, trying to see how you can help students. I think it is something that we need to also think through, and I'm hoping even as the Standard 6 sitting for their exams, we are not going to see the same. I think going forward with CBC, it will be good to assess students on their assessment exams more, the way we do in campus with our CATs. So you grow the GPA as you move on, and by the time they're coming for these exams, it's really an issue, because you've already done more of your exams. I know right now the international schools have also changed, because they realized students just do read so much for the exams, yet when they look at their transcripts, you find they were not performing well. So they have been forced through you'll be graded by your transcripts as you move to your campus. And this has to happen now to all our schools. That way, you remove cheating, because it is a daily assessment as you move on. But more importantly, I think also is, I can see, the exams are being picked by the teachers. There are many ways of putting in very good security features to ensure exams arrive to the schools that you want, and it will be difficult for teachers to do cheating. Also, just to convey my condolences to the students, and to pray that we will have, from this week, I know I also lost a student in Moi Girls for Kwali, and my condolences to them. I'm a board member there. It was very sad. They are twins, and I'm hoping the twin will do her exam well.
Oh, the both are. Well, yes. One of them was sitting.
As well. They are both sitting.
Okay.
Yeah, so one has gone, and it is very sad. You know, when a parent goes through 4 years, and then such a tragedy happens, it's not very good. I mean, it's very sad. So I also convey my condolences to the students of Moi Girls Vokoli, and we are praying for you, and we are wishing you well as you continue doing your exams. We have to think as a country. I know we'll come and talk about what you pulled first, the budgets and all that, but my prayer to Kenyans is that it's like every day we enter into a most difficult times. We wake up, we go to bed thinking we will be coming out of a challenge. We wake up in the morning, you're in the worst. And it is for all leaders. And I am really pleading with this government that, you know, when a country is in a dire need, and when a country is every day in pain, and people are just feeling challenged, they're becoming helpless and despair, You sit down with all the leaders. It doesn't matter which political party. You sit down with them for you to craft a better way for your citizens. Not for your political parties, not because you're in this party so you hit on your chest and no, for the country. Because if that country goes, all of us goes. We won't remember these political parties. So that's my plea to government. Let us sit together, regardless, and see how we can salvage the economy. That pillar of economy needs all of us.
Right.
It can't work with them.
That should be also, yes, a bit of a discussion as well. But allow me to also welcome Senator Richard Nyonka. It's been a while since he was here. We're quite busy, but we're finally good to see you. I just want to also give you an opportunity to wish Kenyans, of course, the students generally, and especially from KC County, your good wishes.
Good morning, Dibal.
Morning to you.
Good morning, my colleagues. I'm happy to be here. Just the way Madam Melachi has just expressed herself, I'll repeat actually what she said. We wish all the candidates success. It's a challenge. There are issues which I hope the CS Education, Honorable Machogu, and the PS will make sure that these exams are trustworthy, verifiable, and done above any issues, so that we don't have these usual issues about, oh, the exams were leaked, or that kind of thing. I believe this is really historical. Kenyan students will do well, given the opportunity. It's unfortunate. I saw the story about the kids who drowned. I would also like to send my condolences to them. And again, it brings, I think, the very fundamental issues of, about, for example, legislation. What do we do in an area where there are water dams or water ponds?
Yes.
Do we bring in legislation which talks about the place needs to be secured one way or the other?
Yes.
Do we insist that if there's a water pond in an area, there's somebody who's responsible? Whether we are able to handle such events. Other than that, I feel that so far there hasn't been any noise about implementation of the exams which are taking place from today. And indeed, I wish everybody the best. And I believe that there was a good decision to change the system from the 844 to CBC. The truth is, when I sit in my home, what was very interesting, about 2 weeks ago when I was in Kisii,
yes,
I found my son had picked sand. There was sand outside my house, and he had gone and planted some maize, and he had planted trees on the sand. I found it very interesting that he was carrying me along. He kept telling me, "Dad, come and see what we've done. Come and see, I planted this one. You see, they're doing well." So I noticed that, yes, the education system is in a way changing. What I don't know is what it's changing to. Yeah, because I guess CBC takes out all the issues that we've historically picked. You remember we used to have the 4K clubs, we used to have arts and crafts, we used to have some science and mechanical things which kids would pick during their early stages. I remember I used to have this, it used to be called, it was like clay. There was a product that was like clay, which we would play with, we would mold things into
Play-Dohs.
Yes, yes, that kind of thing. I don't know why we stopped taking that material and helping our children to either become artists or even in engineering. Right now you are asked to mold a car and the design of a part. I mean, these are things which are very practical, and so I hope the system we've picked will end up again making sure that we do well. Our job as the Senate and the National Assembly is to oversight the government, keep on improving on what we have, and I think and hope that the government will make sure that it takes this new education system seriously. The only worry I have about what is happening right now is the issue of junior secondary, the issue of capitation money, As I speak right now, Dibal, no capitation money has been sent to schools. I think you saw the story about how even university students are living in a destitute life in KC campus. So the government, I think the president needs to, I hear people saying he's a hands-on man. He needs to seriously get a hold of the CS, the PS, and sit to these people and say, can we make sure that the implementation of this program and our education, all of it, whether it's at university, whether it's at junior secondary, or whether it's at ECD centers, we have a problem at the county governments where many of the ECD teachers are not either being paid or not being confirmed as permanent and pensionable, because governors are assuming there's a gray area. Because education per se is with the national government, you'll find that some governors will just be talking and saying, no, we don't have the money and all that. And yet in reality, they're supposed to implement, because the government, again, is releasing money to county governments. Most of the county governments have received their exchequer. So there's something needs to be done in making sure that capitation money arrives on time, implementation, promotions, and all these things. Our teachers need to be handled and managed well, not necessarily because they have to have a salary increment. I just think that the agreements which the CBA, that the teachers have signed with the government, needs to be implemented. All that, the education sector has very many challenges. When I sit as a Kenyan, not necessarily as a legislator, I feel we are not pushing much. We are not, I see too many gaps. So I hope the government will really, really effectively come up and with solutions to the problems that are affecting our education sector. Thank you.
I just wanted to maybe, because I was looking at this particular dam here, if my director may just pick it up in full, and just looking at the security of it, especially when we have 5 students who've actually been captured by that particular, if this is a pan, or can we call it a water dam? If you can just see it there in the Daily Nation, the front page there, if we have it in the fourth place. How then do you even secure the security? Or how then do you make sure that the security of the people, so people who are visiting this particular area, is safeguarded, looking at it the way it is?
That's the point I was making. What is the best practice internationally, even regionally? Any area where there's a pool of water, where there is a dam, for example, the local legislated entity, whether it is a municipality, whether it is the county government, whether it is the national government. I think what I was saying, Dibali, is that we either must come up and secure such facilities. And I know the issue, of course, a dam. How do you secure a dam? But in reality, you might find that if there had been a scenario where such a dam or such an area is actually secured, and such an area is given 1 or 2 individuals whose responsibility really is to make sure that the place is secure, make sure that kids or children do not go into such a place and get tempted to swimming, or animals being sent to go and drink the water by the locals. It's a challenge, but I think solutions can be thought about so that such an event, which is really, really sad, doesn't happen again. Because this constant, it's not just here where it happened. I think many other places. I remember when I was a member of parliament, I actually had a case where we had dug an area and gotten a lot of maram out of that area. And before we could now refill back, there was an incident where there were animals which actually got drowned into that pond, that area which we had removed the maram. And what crossed my mind at that time is that there, for example, could be a bylaw which says that if you're going to excavate maram in a certain area, there would be inspectors from the county governments who would then come into that area and make sure that if there is a hole or there is a huge crater where the water is filling up, then there has to be instruction on what needs to be done. There should be rules and regulations on what needs to be done so that there is security for individuals or animals or whatever not to happen in such dams which have got water which has either been filled by rain or which have been filled by basically the dam being a collection point for rainwater.
Let me ask Honorable Makal, because we have a CS saying that this one should be, the problem is underway, but he says it should be criminalized. I mean, you know, the teachers who are, you know, overseeing these children, isn't that really passing judgment before even the probe is done?
You know, Dibal, I think the truth of the matter is, if you travel in this country, to different parts of this country, this kind of water pans are all over the place. And in very few places, they're actually fenced.
They should be fenced, isn't it?
Honorable Nyanga is saying, very few places you find they are fenced.
Very few.
What has happened is, I think through the National Irrigation Board, a lot of water pans have been done in different parts, just to improve the issue of water availability. And normally the agreement was that the organization would come, do a water pan, but then the fencing was left mostly to the beneficiaries. And you know, normally not many Kenyans want to supplement government efforts. So what would happen is they would do them and tell them, because they're normally in individual farms. If when they would come, I will provide my part of my farm, they do it, and then they say, okay, it's your work not to fence that, we have done the work for you. So, to me, I just look at it as an accident mostly, because if we are to say we fence all of them, then we don't want to single this one out only and appear like it's only one. There are very many. What to me was a bit worrying when I saw this story was the issue of how the 6 pupils were able to sneak out, go get a canoe somewhere, which was supposed to carry only 3 people, and then the 6 of them go in, and then they go to the water pan and they drown without any adult realizing. So the question was, where were the teachers at that point? One of the parents was also indicating that during their prayer session for the candidates, they had agreed that now that was, none of the pupils will be able to walk out of the compound anymore because the exams were starting. So the question, at what point they decided that then now we are taking the pupils out of school again? There was a gentleman who was also explaining something about this water pan. It's an handout. So the question is, where were the handouts during that time? By the time the pupils go out there, pick some small boat somewhere, go to the water pan. I think to me it was a bit of just people not being very responsible at that point. But this kind of water pans are all about the bar. I think really where I come from, that is my own constituency, Kitui Central. I have more than 1,000 like these ones, which are not fenced. So I really don't want to see like. To me, I see it more of people not being very responsible. Those people who are taking the students there. So I would push the blame more to, even though there's a need to fence them, is move to the future, as Onyanga is saying. But currently, really, because if you look at this, it looks like a certain place you can see. This somebody's more like this somebody's farm, and then you can even see the way the service looks like. It's like if it was Kisumu, would be saying there's some bit of water hyacinth, which means not even normally very much used. So I think it's just like the way we would have a shallow well somewhere, and by accident then somebody goes in. But the fact that there was some small board somewhere which seems to be used for this pan, then it means somebody may either there's a small hotel which is operating in the area. So to me, I see it as just more irresponsibility of the people who are taking care of the students more than just the water pan. But that's my personal opinion.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, let's rope in Danson Mugatana as well to just chime in and share his condolences as well for the 5 pupils from Arap Moi School, and also wish the candidates from his constituency in Kenya as well good success as they sit for the exams this week.
Yes, first of all, thank you, Dibal. I want to send my condolences to the pupils of Arap Moi Primary in this school who lost their lives at the time when they're about just to sit for their exams. That is a very sad occasion. And things of God are very difficult to understand sometimes. We feel a lot of pain, but we don't know what to say except to ask them to be strong and to do what they needed to do. which is to pass the exams that they are supposed to sit. Now, funny enough, yesterday I was also at Arab Moi Primary School in Gao, not this one. And that's my old school, where we were having our final prayers for the examination students, the candidates who were there. And Pastor Francis Tumaini led us in the prayers. We prayed for those students, and it brought to me memories 40 years ago when I was sitting my CPE examination. And in those days, we would do 36 out of 36 if you did the top marks. And it's from there that actually I was a top student in the course, 35 out of 36, and went to the good old school Alliance. But the critical thing is I was able to relieve my time. There was an old man there who used to promise a watch to anyone who became number one in the exam. And I got that watch. It was not maybe high quality, because it worked only for, you remember those watches, Onyonka will remember it, the watches that you used to put a battery inside and then you cover it.
Yes, Casio.
It worked for 2 weeks, but I held on to that watch for Form 1 up to Form 4, because it was the first thing that I earned outside what my father and mother used to give me. And it was to me the sign of things that I needed to do to start making myself be myself. And so I promised, I was my wife, so I promised the gentleman who will be number one a watch, and of course more school fees and so on. And my wife promised the lady. So I'm curious. I really want to see how it will be. Now, I'm not going to buy a Casio watch. I want to buy a good watch for the young man.
Buy a Rolex.
Whatever it is, but a good watch that he will actually keep, because it became like a tradition with my dad. From that time, when I was going to Form 4, now going to Form 6, I also got a watch from my dad, and it was stolen. Then Form 6 to university, I also got a watch from my dad, and then it was stolen. But then I've kept the ones that I've bought for a long time this time. And incidentally, we were the last CPE class. You know, after us, the ones that followed were 844. So it was also interesting that again, I'm
starting over the last cohorts of
over
the KCPE,
the last 844 now. We are bringing CBC, and so I wish them well. I really do, and I keep telling students this is the beginning of your life. You're beginning to make your way in life, so take it positively. It's not for your father or your mother that you're studying and you're passing those exams. It's for you, and may God bless you as you start setting up your new lives. Yeah, that's all I would say, and wishing them very well, all the best.
Fantastic. All right, on that particular note, we want to take a short break right now. When we circle back, of course, we shall be looking at a raft of issues that are coming to the fore. Remember the impeachment of Kawera Mwangaza, the governor of Meru, will be coming to the Senate, and they'll make a critical decision which way to go, whether the plenary or the committee, and if those allegations, if at all, they can stick or they hold water at the end of the day. Will this be the second redemption of Kawera? That is another question. Remembering also in December, there was an impeachment motion that came to the floor of the Senate as well. And then when we circle back as well, we shall be looking at the pronouncement by the president regarding the issues to do with his travel and the paring down of 500 million shillings that he has now said he will pare down on his traveling, but also looking at the supplementary budget that has increased the docket of that particular office of the president, but that primarily of the deputy president, that has really gone up by more million shillings. We interrogate that and why, and what that particular office, especially of the spouse of the deputy president, is bringing to bear as far as development is concerned. We have more. Don't go away. You're watching Standpoint here on Morning Prime.